なんだかね、最近初めてのことばっかり起きるの。
そうだな。
なんだか何かが変わりそうな気がするの。
Oh God.
ああ、そうだな。
Alright, we have post credits.
That
Wait,
was
we have post credits.
awesome.
We have.
There's post credits. I do not want to stop to talk. I want to just.
Oh shit.
こちらです。
おう、
来ましたよ。
よう、4年ぶりだな、ライナー。エレン。
What the fuck's about to happen?
Dude, what a cliffhanger! Whoa!
We're going.
Wait, are we running it?
No talking. No talking.
Are we running it?
We're
No
running
talking until 5.
We're running it.
It's too hot to handle.
Juicy.
That was fucking amazing.
Dude, they hit us with the fucking. They hit us with the.
The warning.
Oh man!
Shit! 住み続ける。敵を駆逐するまで。
パラディ島勢力へ宣戦布告を。
R.I.P. Bro, R.I.P. Willie. Yeah.
Let's go!
Go, baby.
What?
Holy shit!
Y'all don't know what the fuck is about to happen. Oh
Fire.
God. Oh my God.
What an episode! My goodness!
That was some heat, dude.
My God, that was good.
Bruh. I'm so hyped.
I was so ready for this
Oh, I
moment.
was so ready.
I'm so bro, I'm so excited.
Dude.
Real quick, I want to verify who has not read the manga at this point. Okay, I want your guys' reactions first, please.
Thanks.
Because I will say, from one who has read the manga, like this scene was pretty hype, but they did an incredible job with the animation at taking my like 100% hype and like fucking like 10 times that, 1,000 times that. It was so sick. Please, I want to know your guys' reaction.
So I'll go first, and so I thought, just like all you guys here, that was hype. That was so hype. Oh my gosh! But okay. So that initial reaction aside, yeah, I agree. I think the flow of how they were going back and forth between, I guess really there's kind of three things that were playing out, right? There's the scene on stage. There was a scene with Aaron and Reiner. And then there's kind of the scene with Magath and him trying to, do his commander stuff. And they had it flow together all very nicely. Particularly because they're all kind of connected through that. There's like that space in between the stage, in between where Magath was, in between where Aaron was. And they utilize that space very nicely in switching between scenes. The whole thing was very well done.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. To extend your point about that flow, just a single moment that did that for me, Rob, because I felt the same way. When the man is giving a speech and has the line that says, "Are you gonna take my hand, people?" So it's like he's extending his hand to them, to the people of Marley and the world, and then Aaron's doing it to his boy as well. And Aaron doesn't even say it. Like, they don't even do some cheesy, like, Aaron parallels the word. It's just fucking silent in that room, and you just get it. But you get it.
I got one comment. I got one comment to that. And it's super short, and it starts off when Willie says it's because, like, he gives the reasoning. It was because I was born in this world, and Aaron has a visceral reaction to that because that's his reasoning for doing the shit that he does. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
That's a great
JP?
point. That's a great point, eh, fan? Yes.
Yeah. It was fucking beautiful, honestly. Holy shit. The way that Aaron like brings it all together. It's like,
Oh
we
my
are the
God.
same. I'm doing this because we are the same. You did that. I have to do this. Like there's no other way because the entire fucking world just declared war on his home. Like he has to.
What are you gonna do?
The thing that gets me is that that's brutal. Like this is like this is obscene mental torture for Reiner.
Oh my God.
And I love
Oh my
it.
God.
Okay.
I fucking love it, dude.
It's this, like, if anything is gonna tear some. If this had happened before he tried to take his own life, he's pulling that trigger. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
This is like the thing that you can't live with this at this point. And it's
Okay.
just brutal.
I need to say one quick thing, and it's that I forgot the context of the conversation that they had. So last week we discussed a little bit. I was like, how, does this make those two foils for each other? And then, so I feels like what I was saying is a lot less clever now and more like I was just speaking with prior knowledge, which feels kind of dumb.
So wait. Going back to that point, though, I don't think foils. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's when you have characters being the opposite, so that they accentuate each other. It seems to me that they're making Aaron and Reiner parallel rather than opposite.
Mhm.
Foils in terms of what or who they're standing for, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I think a big, like,
Regardless, I was drawing a lot of lines between Reiner and Aaron last week about the two characters. And there was some support for what I was saying, some denial of what I was saying, and that's cool. But I feel like because this happened, it feels like I only said so because I knew this. That wasn't my intent. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, a fraud for Alex's YouTube channel.
well, look at me over here. I was trying to fight you on that, and I was like, why was I trying to fight him on that? This is pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. If there was any doubt before, I am definitely on board that Reiner and Aaron are now parallels to each other.
Yeah.
They're mirrors, right? They're so
It's beautiful.
directly connected that it's kind of the whole point of this part of the story, I think.
Can we?
Man, that was beautifully done.
Dude, can we talk about, and this is selfish of me because I want to direct the conversation this way. Every time Mo and Connor were like, fuck Aaron, I held my tongue because you know what? They were right. But I held my tongue because I knew what he was going to become. Dude, the man's character development in one episode is unreal. Reiner was like, dude, didn't you say you wanted to like torture me in the worst way possible? And he's like, you forget about that. I'm embarrassed by that. Don't even mention it.
Hey, that was my Junie days.
I do want to feel your guys' thoughts on that.
Because I think that's just a lie. He did torture him. That's what that whole conversation was fucking torture.
In a weird way.
He had that this guy pretty much loves, right? That he wants to give his power to. Bring him to Aaron, sat his ass down, and he said, this is your fault.
Also, I don't know if we can infer this or not, but like maybe Aaron had been, and he said he'd been there for a little bit, like lived under the same roof. Maybe Aaron has seen this man literally like devolve into a shell of his former self from the shadows.
Shit.
Yeah.
He won't show it on screen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it more impactful if he's seen Reiner deteriorate and he's seen the guilt eat away at him? Or is it more impactful if this is just dramatic irony and these are two coincidental events that compile and just make it worse for Reiner?
I think the second one probably is worse. I'm not sure you can't have both. You probably can, but I agree with that.
Yeah, I think by definition, the dramatic irony is more impactful, just by the nature of what it is.
So are they going to really turn the show into like a cycle of violence kind of theme that's going on here? That's going to be the interesting thing. Like the world's just a fuck place, and we're prisoners to our own life.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I love how smart they were about it, though. They had whoever the fucking soldier was that took the other Titans and just like sent them to different locations. We don't know who that is.
It's
and
fucking.
I'm really fucking curious, and maybe it is Armin. I don't know, but that was so smart. That was so fucking smart.
It was. Yeah, they had fucking planned this shit out. This was a goddamn coup. They've had their practice with doing coups before.
Hey, right, exactly. They've one or two coups in their experience, bro.
Couple.
Man.
Bro.
Now the question is, how many of them are there? There, you know.
We don't know. I guess maybe it's all.
Exactly. You guys, you have to watch the couple episodes before to see if there's any more.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I didn't even.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what's exciting? Alex and I stopped reading the manga at a certain point, and we are getting close to that point where I won't know what's about to happen next.
We are.
And I'm so excited to ride this train with my bros. Okay.
With the homies. With the homies.
With the homies.
So hyped for this. I've always wanted for us all to be on the same page when we're just like, I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Chris, where's Chris in the manga though? Did Chris finish it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so
Caught up.
yeah. Full disclosure, I'm caught up. But
Sure.
But I would argue that it does not take away from the I don't know the experience I get from watching you guys like watch it. I fucking love watching it just unfold. So when it gets to that point, when it gets to the point where everyone except me is clueless, I'm still just gonna like sit back and just enjoy the ride because I love it. I love watching you guys pop off too. That's my favorite thing.
Dude, that's why I have it on like two monitors. I'm like looking back and forth. I'm like,
yeah, there's an episode I'm like, let's go.
Dude, the anime does be hitting different when you're watching it with the bros, man.
Facts.
To kind of ride off your coattails there, Juan. It's a lot of us have read pieces of the manga, right? And I feel like at this point, the anime is just so much better than the manga that, like, I don't think I should read the manga because this seems like it's the definitive version. The medium allows for coincidental stories, right? That Rob was hitting on earlier with the general, the play, and then Eren and Reiner. You can't do that the same way in the manga.
Oh, dude, like I can't agree more.
Yeah.
To Jonathan's point, I believe that's exactly what happens in the manga. Like they try to do like he starts giving the speech. And there's a certain shape and style to the text bubble. And that's like, this is the speech that Tiber is giving. And then you're seeing this scene with Eren and Reiner, but it gets a bit disorienting and lost in translation. And it's not as impactful as the moment that we just had here.
So I think I agree with you, Josh. But at the same time, I knew when I read this that I was skipping ahead. And while reading it, in the back of my mind, I kept the fact that like, oh, this is about to be animated, and like, for whatever reason, psychologically, like, I read this and I was as hype as when I was watching it right here because I knew I was like, dude, this is gonna look so fucking good animated. So these particular, you know, just like the frames from the manga where it's like the background where Willie was, you know, like this is the Titans, and he was telling the story, and the Titans were like the shadows, and he was using the shadow puppets and stuff. Dude, in the back of my head, I was like, I was melting. I was like, oh my god, they animate this. This is gonna be so fucking good. And so that, for whatever reason, for me personally, that excuse me, that it was like not as hype because I wasn't watching animated, but I was like, the anticipation of what, like, oh my god, they're gonna animate this. It's gonna be so sick. It's so hype. I was just looking forward I was looking forward to it so much, man. Oh my god.
Oh, I will say real quick that Alex and I, when we were reading this manga, we would sit down and read the chapter together, and we would talk about how hype it was going to be when it was animated. So I'm with you. I'm with you.
Connor,
I do have one question.
Sure.
Sorry, I know we need to keep going. Just last question. Why hold that conference or that presentation in that district, I guess?
The play.
The LD.
Yeah, the play.
Yeah, so someone else feel free to disagree with me on this, but I feel like it was a symbolic show from the Tiber family to say that, hey, everything that you thought you knew about the Eldians being these devils, you're wrong. And so it was a symbolic gesture to that.
Okay.
That's just my interpretation.
Well, yeah,
I think
one
that's-
other thing is like, however Willie knew, like the Tiber family knew that Aaron was in the midst. It was weird. Like they just knew.
Did he?
Did he?
I don't know if he did. He straight up got fucking
Mark
crushed.
chopped.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, but what was all that talk with Magath and Big Willie
That's fair.
about the building had the what do you say, like the pillars that were easily collapsible or destructible? The building's about to fall apart.
There's rats in it.
Oh.
Yeah, I
He
thought
said
that
there's
was,
rats infesting it.
yeah.
I took a note of that.
Right, I thought that was in reference to they were in on Aaron going to destroy the building.
Oh shit.
So
I think that
thought
was
it
actually. Go ahead, Johnny.
No, yeah, you got this. I think
that was actually in reference to their own government, right?
Exactly.
Because Tiber was functionally coming in and strong arm, because he was like, you rule this from the shadows, right? And Tiber was functionally coming along and being like, okay, now I'm going to take over as the face, right? So they're going to like clear out all the like corrupt and other bullshit that's going on so that they can get whatever they want accomplished, right? I think that was, at least that's how I read it. Of course, I do see where you're coming from, Rob, but I didn't feel like Tiber was keen on or was privy to the knowledge that Aaron was afoot.
Yeah, the
I feel
question.
like that's.
How did they
Well,
know?
I mean, I don't know. He came randomly. So when I was reading this, he came randomly, and he approached like Magath
Mm-hmm.
with all of this information. Like, I was like, "What are you trying to tell me, bro? what author? What are you trying to imply?" This Willie guy is pretty sharp.
He's a little sus, not gonna lie.
It's definitely strange, but their conversations, I feel like it was more dramatic irony where they're talking about things that they don't know about that we do, right? And it's kind of getting curled back up on them because it's going to bite them in the ass.
I do have a tinfoil hat theory, but I can't quite divulge it yet. Like, it's not quite yet time for me to divulge that theory.
Well, we need to catch up so nobody knows what the fuck's going on.
Exactly.
A little bit of info that we don't have.
Yeah, but that's why I'm so excited, because we're so close now. I'll finally be able to just say whatever comes to mind.
Is this the best episode of Attack on Titan?
Do you think so?
I'll go up on the limb. I think this is my favorite. The only other one that I think comes close is the one where Armin bites the shit and they kill the Colossal Titan. I think those are my two picks.
I think I'm gonna go with the second pick over this one. This one was really good, but I still think that one was better.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
I think I agree with you, Connor. I think this is like a whole package. I think this is the best episode so far.
The dope action scenes are like we've been working for this for the last whole season that I think leads into that other episode maybe being better, you know, or you're more impactful to the viewers. But I don't know, like it just felt from like a movie making perspective, I was actually kind of impressed with a lot of the shit that was going on in this episode. Maybe also finally made me finally at least care about this character who's been in the show, that this show has spent so much time on, that they thought they failed so many times to get me to care about, in the form of Braun, the armored titan. And they finally did it. To me, there is something to that where it's just like, okay, you tried a lot to get me to care, and it apparently worked. Like, I will say, I know that I'm alone on this. A lot of people that I've heard talk about this show really got on his side with the whole, like, split personality, which I'll point out they never bring up again, which is kind of weird. I never bought that, but this episode, I was like, okay, I finally get where you're going with this character.
Excuse me, Apan, could you, like, I forgot, where did it leave off? Do you, like, before it said to be continued, what happens?
Aaron
popped out and launched.
Aaron fucking
this right here.
He doesn't launch him, he swipes him.
Yeah.
This frame in the manga,
Fire.
I creamed my pants. I was like, dude,
it was gorgeous.
Alex, can you bring up the panel?
I will. Yeah. Give me a second.
Dude, the other thing that was great about, at least, because I usually kind of shit on the show's writing, so I have to give it credit where credit's due. I did not see the whole Kruger being Aaron thing whatsoever.
Yeah, good.
Can I? So my little brother was watching with me, and he was like, he said the same thing as you, but when I told him, like, when I read the manga, it was even less because it was all black and white. Because I didn't know at all this shit was coming. It was even less.
I tell, because like once he said Aaron, I'm like, oh my god, the green eyes. Holy shit, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Did so there was Kruger, and then the doctor that came down and sat next to him
wasn't a doctor.
No, that was his father or grandfather.
That was his
grandfather.
But what name did he get? He's a Jaeger, right?
Jaeger.
So the manga readers, did that happen? Did I forget?
Don't think so.
It did.
It did happen. Yeah.
It
did? Okay. I thought it was crazy. I thought they added it, and like they're fleshing out the anime so much that I questioned it. I was like, was that even in there, or are they just making this better in every way possible?
Dude, look how beautiful this panel is.
I feel like this panel actually looks better than it did in the anime.
Yeah, I agree.
Alex, look at this. This is the panel where I like creamed my shorts. This is gonna be sick in the anime, bro. Look at this.
It was sick.
It was sick, no doubt.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, he ripped his jaw off and everything. They definitely had some more censorship.
Look at his leg. It's like fucking.
Yeah, they
broke it.
Had a little bit more censorship and everything, but like, I think
the background's a lot more.
The man is in half in the panel.
Bro,
I feel like he's still attached in the anime.
But like, respect to Willie, like he's like, I'll just take this, whatever.
Respect.
I have a question for you guys. The conversation between Reiner and Aaron. Do you guys think that Aaron, and I guess there's two ways that one can sort of look at this, from the perspective of the storytelling perspective and from the perspective of actually in the canonical story. But do you think Aaron gave too little, too much, or just the right amount of information during that whole speech with him?
That's what I say.
Wait. Say. Can you ask your?
What do you mean, though?
Can you ask your question again?
So interpret as you will. Reiner and Aaron had a conversation. My question is, during that conversation, Aaron said, he might not have said a lot, but he had a lot of impact. Did he say too much, too little, or just the right amount?
I actually might have a different answer than most people, so
go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Go.
A little bit too little. So this episode was fan-fucking-tastic in terms of like the episode pacing and all that shit. The problem I still have with it, and it's the problem that I've kind of had with the show ever since the reveal, is I still don't really get where they're going, like thematically with all these characters and their motivations. I've always had that problem with Braun. like, why the fact do we spend, like, I was talking about this in season 2, I think it was, a bunch when we were spending a bunch of time in all these sympathetic scenes with these people who are, murdering all of the people on the wall with their whole Titan plan. And I still feel that way a little bit in the sense that, like, Ron learned that, like, by saying, what's his name? I'm actually an idiot.
Reiner.
Reiner finally has learned, like, we learned that Reiner's like, oh man, all of these missions that I cared about as my whole life were stupid and pointless, and I was wrong the whole time. And then Aaron's like, yeah, well, I think I'm about to make the same mistake you are, I guess, which is weird to me. Like, that's, I guess, what we're supposed to infer. And if I'm wrong about this, then that's what makes me think it's like it's a little bit too little. It's just weird to have two characters do shit like that, where we follow a character, his whole story is him learning that he was wrong in his motivations.
So
and the character that does that to him is just then the one who turns right around and is like,
in response to that, I'd say I don't think that that's what Reiner was coming to terms with. Was that his reasons for doing things was wrong necessarily? Because I don't think it was wrong. I think it's him, like, coming to terms with the fact that his whole life has been controlled by his guilt. And it's completely torn him apart. Right? His motivation for doing everything he's done up to now is guilt, and it's still guilt.
I want to just point out, and I don't know if this has been ignored or if I just wasn't paying enough attention to the discussion, but I think that just like I think that they very clearly pointed or very poignantly implied that Reiner wants to be judged specifically by Eren, right? Like, they go through a lot of trouble to point out this story of this old man that they met who definitely seemed like he knew that they were the cause of the trouble, and then he killed himself, right? And they were like Berthold was like, man, I'll just keep wondering why he told us that story and then hung himself. And they were like, oh, maybe he just wanted someone to forgive him. And it was like, no, he wanted to be judged, right? Reiner, with a gun in his mouth, is looking for judgment. And the reason why he doesn't pull the trigger is because he doesn't feel like that's absolving him of, or it doesn't feel like that's what's causing someone to lay down judgment, right? What he feels like is his judgment is if he dies because Eren makes it that way, right? That's why he's like, yo, Eren, just kill me. So he literally falls to his knees and says, dude, kill me. And Eren's like, eh. And to me, that's huge. That is super huge for the writing. Yeah.
To get back towards Rob's question there, I don't know. I think he said exactly the amount he wanted to say. It seemed like a very cold, calculated conversation with hardly any emotional charge to it. So I think he said what he wanted to say. Exactly, no less, no more.